This is TWiT.
In the same way that Microsoft releases updates for Windows 11 all the time, I feel like now they're on a little cycle where like they spin a wheel and it's like, all right, 3 days from now, we're going to talk about security again. Yeah. And they just I don't want anyone to forget that we're really serious about security. I know we say that a lot, but we're really serious about security. They were making their security the top priority of the company back in November, I think it was, with that new SDI or whatever the thing is called. They announced in May, right, tied to builds. There was a big push in Windows 11.
Yep.
Security is our top priority. That CrowdStrike thing happened. Just want to remind everybody, we're super serious about security. And to prove that, we're going to fix this problem with the industry because we love you guys. We don't want this to happen anymore. And a memo leaked from Microsoft internally. Microsoft, by the way, has a chief people officer.
Of course they do.
Again, kind of.
That's just that's the new age name for HR. That's all.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. The guy who fires people.
Yeah. It's the HR.
He literally walks around wearing a Darth Vader costume just to make it clear what his job is.
He's a people person. I'm a people person.
Like, who does he like respond? Like who's his direct report? Like what's
I do not believe.
Yeah. He's like, Troy, I don't alter the deal again.
Faith.
So he sent out an email to everybody at Microsoft and said, look, I just want to remind everybody, we're super serious about security. And we are going to base your future earnings as an employee on how well you conform to this.
This never ends well. Google did this with social, which created Google Plus. Yeah. I think Meta did it with the metaverse. Right. Look how well that's gone.
Yep.
I hope Microsoft's sincere about this.
The way I
imagine
this
that
is
it's
like
right after the CrowdStrike thing.
The guys in the AI division are all like, hey, are we actually going to do this? And they're like, no, that doesn't apply.
No.
Don't worry about that. Yeah,
it is interesting how they're essentially have to do internal memos in public, right? Like that's the only way to make it real.
Yeah, that's it. Right. This is the perfect way.
That's a good point.
Well, because you really want. Yeah. Pete, we have said we are serious about security several times in the past few months, and no one seems to believe it. Can anyone think of a more effective way to communicate?
Why don't they believe it? I wonder why.
Yeah, here's an idea. Threaten every employee, and then they'll believe it. Yeah. so that's what they did.
Well, your pay package is going to be affected by your role in security.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the thing.
That's how you do it.
This is the new stack ranking, right?
There you go.
It's security ranking.
Well, you still have they still have their OKRs, right? I deal with this sort of thing all the time interacting with Microsoft employees where it's like, this isn't tied to my OKR, then I'm not doing it. And so if that really
are they saying that's part of your OKRs now?
Yeah, I hope it is, because they do have to take security seriously, and they do have to be able to pull the andon cord to stop production to say we have a serious security problem rather than wave past it. To put in, you talk about the big SFI kickoff. That was finding a bunch of dev resources on Azure that were that didn't follow the security process.
Well, which, by the way, was the net cause of that late 2023 security vulnerability that no one's talking about anymore, thanks to CrowdStrike. Thank you, CrowdStrike.
Yeah,
right? We're not talking about that anymore.
No. And there is a fix to CrowdStrike, right? There is API calls they can now have, and arguably Microsoft should be saying, if there isn't, we'll make you one.
Right.
We'll push it out in 22H2 for you.
Yeah,
the thing
they're almost certainly doing right now is, well, first of all, they kind of did fix this already. It's just that no one really knew what happened. So now you can just kind of re-promote it like it's new. I mean, we're going to work with CrowdStrike and the other security vendors so they can implement these new out of the kernel APIs and blah, blah, blah. This stuff's been around for 5 years, but you know what? Don't worry about it. We're just going to, we're going to make it happen.
The other side of this is CrowdStrike has to look at how many dev cycles that represents versus the feature set their customers are demanding. Like all you're doing is fixing something that nobody can tell if you fixed it correctly. You can only tell if you screwed it up.
And we don't actually understand the benefit to it, to the approach you took. Right.
No,
right. How
almost guaranteed will be slower because transitioning through a security boundary takes time.
Yep. This is sure. This was, but this.
This but you still put locks on doors, right? Like
this is the NT architecture. You remember they moved the graphics into the kernel, and it was like, what are you doing? And like, it's faster. Like, yeah, of course it's faster. Yeah. But that was a big debate at the time. NT was pretty top.
Well, and the argument was as soon as you don't allow third-party drivers in Ring 0, and the answer after Vista was, forget it, we'll just write the drivers.
Yes, right. Which, like everything else in the world, the hardware vendors hate that kind of thing. But that's part of the story recently where they said, hey, here's an idea.
No,
we'll write the printer drivers now.
If I'm responsible for 20,000 machines in my office, I'm going to run reference drivers. I don't care about features. I care about reliability.
Oh, that's okay. That's an interesting and appropriate kind of customer facing view of it. But from Microsoft's perspective, we just saw it. They get blamed for everything, right?
Yep. We're going to catch it anyway. You're still going to use PSS.
We're gonna fix printers. We don't even make a printer. We've never made a printer, but we're still gonna fix this because apparently you guys can't stop writing crappy drivers. So we're gonna fix it. And because we are the ones who get blamed, we're the ones who get called, and we are the ones who get threatened because they're gonna move to some other platform, and it was your fault. So this is a pretty common pattern, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, and it's a tough problem because part of Microsoft's whole play is having a broad ecosystem with many vendors so that you have lots of choice. But then they have to do things they're not good at.
Double-edged sword. And every one of those companies has a different strategy for success that is counter to what everyone else is doing. This is the reality. I mean, it's good and bad.
No, if there were simple answers, we would have used them.
It's weird because there isn't really nuance anywhere else in life. And it's funny, we've never encountered this before.
Nuance? What's that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Hey, it's me, Leo Laporte. I hope you've enjoyed this little snippet from Windows Weekly. If you want to see more and want to catch the whole show, you can subscribe in your favorite podcast client or visit our website, twit.tv/WW. And of course, there's links right below me.